Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chess. Today we are at the next topic, that is we are going to discuss the fifth lesson of Morra Gambit, and today we are going to discuss the Paulsen setup. As we know, in open Sicilian when e6 and a6 is played, it's considered the setup of Paulsen. Although there is no particular setup as such, that can go a6, e6, b5, that can consider playing d6, e6 along with a6, b5. So this lesson is a preparatory lesson before we go into the e6 and e7 lines. So we will have at least 2 or 3 lessons based on various Paulsen setups, and these lines are very sharp. Lot of sacrifices must be made, and many of which require precise play from both white and black. So let's get started quickly. Let's reach the main position. e4, c5, d4, cd, c3, dc and c3. e6, sometimes a6 is also played first, nf3, a6, bishop c4. The bishop of course belongs to c4, that is b5, bb3. Instead b4 doesn't cause any problem. So first bb7, black attacks e4 first, and now b4 is going to be one of the main lines that we are going to discuss in the next lesson. White goes castle. If b4, then white should play the move nd5. We will do an extensive analysis of that, and today we are going to discuss the move d6. Black mixes various setups. He wants to go nf6, be7, castle, and just remain a pawn up. And here white has to be very careful. Many a times players just go queen e2, and then after nf6 they realize that after rook d1, although e5 is a threat, the queen can be moved. And see, black then just plays be7 castle and even becomes better in some cases. The trade of e4 pawn for d6 would not give any advantage to white. So white should play the unusual move here, ng5. As per see, one of the principles, when opponent violates many opening principles, we may also have to do the same. See, black has made already 7 pawn moves out of the total 8 moves. And white with knight ng5 intends to break on e6, f7 or f4. So the 3 things that he has in mind, either be6, ne6 or the slow f4, f5, trying to break e6. We are going to cover the lines now. There are 4 main moves that we should look at. There is h6, there is nf6, there is be7, and there is the main nc6. Let's get into them one by one. If h6, this is the worst one. White can go ne6, fe, queen h5 or ne6, fe, be6, but see, the stronger is queen h5, forcing to go g6, and now see queen h3. Queen retreats, but e6, g6, f7, all the 3 are weak, and now after queen e7, trying to stop the damage, nothing much happens. There is just ne6, fe, be6, and now nd5 is looming. Even if nf6, nd5, nd5, ed5, the point is simple. White just wants re1 and the bishop would move with the check, bd7 or bf7, or simply he can move the bishop. So let's say bg7, then re1, and now see, knight d7 is lost, bd7 wins, or else bd2 or bf4 when the bishop would move. So this position is winning for white. Let's go back to the move be7. Looks logical because black just wants to attack g5 and repulse the knight. White has the strong f4. Point is simple. If bg5 then fg, f5 would be open. It would become very dangerous for black. Knight won't come to f6 as well. So b4, and here see, white again forces with f5. Very simple and effective move. nd5 is also very strong over here. But see, after bishop takes g5, there is fe6. Now bc1 is there and fe6 is possible. Of course, bc loses to ef7 check. After bc1, ef check, kd7, qg4 check, kc7. Here there is the very strong nd5. This intermezzo wins very easily. bd5, then rook c1 check. And after bc6, just f8, queen f8, rook f8. See, materially also white is up. Queen versus 2 minor pieces. And look at black's all the pieces still stranded, hanging on c7, very unsafe. So this is already winning. Means after fe6 is forced, and here also bishop takes g5, queen takes g5, qd6. Again threat is rook f8 mate. Firstly, there is queen e7, stopping rook f8, but now see king is in the center, so comes bishop f4 check, forcing knight c6. If knight d7, then bd7, qd7, rf8 mates. So bishop c6, qc6 check, it's game over. qd7 just loses, so rook f8 check. There are various ways to win here after ke7, rook f7 or takes rook a8, and after kd8, rook ad1. Game over. Queen has to be given up, and in spite of that, mate in couple of moves. So the best option here is nd7, but here too nothing much. Just see ba4 threatening mate on d7 and also rook f8 mate. So rook d8 won't help because of rook f8. So only move nf6, and now see queen e6 check. King f8 and d8 are there. After king f8, just take on d7. Queen c5 check, only try to take the queen to e7 and queen moves away. White doesn't want to trade the queens, and after c rook d8 there is nd5. If b takes c, then e5 was winning. So bd5, ed5, and we can make out white is just looking like a rook up. Rook e1 is coming up. See the h8 rook, it won't come out. Even white would threaten d6 after ra1. So kd8 is another try. Here to see, just rook takes f6, knight hangs, so knight f6 forced, and see rook d1, kc7, qd6, kc8, white to play. What would you play here as white? During my training sessions, I like to use this analysis for finding moves also for my students. That improves their ability to find moves. Here see, many are unable to find the move bishop b3. The waiting move, see, immediately wins. There is hardly any defense. Rook e8 is almost forced, but to rook e8 you can see that there will be still b6 check, re6, qd8 mate. Means this position is losing. After qg4 there would be b6 and white would win the queen. So just last two lines to go, nf6 and there is nc6. After nf6 also you must have spotted the move e5. White is not going to give black any chance. See, simple point, d5 then takes knight f7 and take the rook on h8. White is a rook up over here, totally winning. And two other moves, knight g8 and knight d5. Let's look at knight g8 first. Here comes knight e6, fe6, be6. It's game over now. If d, then bf7, ke7 and c. Queen b3. This move is very strong. Forces qc8 to stop qe6 mate, but then just bg8. Not just to take the knight, but see, bg5 would have been made by nf6. So this is now again winning for white. So after b6, best is d5. White just takes on d5, knight c6, and now be3. The decisive move, bishop lands on b6, knight would come to c7. Black tries bc8. Idea is simple. If instant bb6, he will try be6, bd8, then rook d8. So white is losing some minor pieces. White plays the intermezzo, bishop g8. Somewhat stronger. After rook g8, bb6, queen has g5 and h4 to both see, knight c7, king f7, qd5, kg6, qc6. All the material is lost. You can make out next move, queen takes a8 and white is again winning. So to e5, only other chance is nd5, but after nd5, white just takes knight d5, ed, bd5, b7 and f7 both hang. So take, again a8 and f7 both are attacked. So only move ra7. Rook e1 very strong, threatens ed6 check. Rook e7, see all the unnatural moves are now forced for black and you can make out. White plays the very strong e6, threatens nf7 and threatens ef7 both. So fe forced, knight e6 and you can make out. qd7 forced and bg5. It's almost time to resign. I will show you one game example from here. Black played on nc6, b7. If bishop takes e7, then rook c1 would win on the spot. Even knight g7 is there. So black took knight e7, but then see queen a8 check, kf7, knight d8. Just to show you how the play is generated, here black played kg8 in the game. He must have found kg6, queen e4 very dangerous. But after kg8, see there is the pretty rook e7. Whatever takes on e7, there is qd5 and she takes and mate on f7. So all these lines show us the brutal way the white is getting his attack, because the whole you will see The lines are based on only one principle, that white superior development is fighting out against the center, black center. So lastly we have the move NC6. After NC6 there comes F4. This move looks bit slow, but see F5 is very dangerous now. Hardly there is anything. Black tries B4 and now comes ND5. See, this is a very dangerous move. This idea I am purposely showing. F5 was very strong, but this idea we are going to use in our upcoming lessons. So after E takes D5, white sacrifices another knight with NF7. The only hope is QB6 check, because if King F7 then QD5 check, King moves, F5 check, King H5 and mating 4 follows after QD1, KH4, G3, KH3, QH5. Only move QH4 when QH4 mates. So black first goes QB6, basically vacating the D8 square, and after KH1, KF7, QD5, King E8, Queen F7. This would have been made before, but now see, King tries to escape, but there is no escaping. King C7, QG7, NE7, and white again has, I hope you must have found, F5. Game over. F6 and G5, two dangerous threats, and there is no rook G8 because of the bishop on B3. So this position once again is winning for white. Of course, all these lines to just give you the feel how the attack is generated, and this will also give you some confidence. Do practice it 2 or 3 times so that you are acquainted with the ideas. I hope you are finding these lessons useful and instructive. Do let me know in the comments below. Thanks for your time.